Hi folks, so sure enough, this is the second time I'm trying to do this video, and it is emblematic of everything that this video is about. So bottom line is I keep nervously looking at the time in case my iPhone mysteriously stops recording. The Mercury going retrograde video I had to do in two parts in Scorpio, ironically, or I don't even know whether it's irony as much as it is just a demonstration of what this video and life is about these days. Yesterday the video I did and should have automatically uploaded to YouTube, except it didn't, and I had to manually upload it. And today I recorded an entire 13-minute video about Mercury going direct in Scorpio, which is what this video is about, on the 20th of November, and uploaded it, and for some strange reason only 10 seconds of it recorded. So let me try and get this done and get things done and sorted. Maybe it was done so that I could give you this anecdote, because really largely this video is about saying that for the next 8 days or so, Mercury goes direct on the 20th. Expect Mercury retrograde related snafus to intensify. The days around when Mercury is actually going retrograde and the days when Mercury is starting to go direct, Mercury slows down and is practically at a standstill from where we sit and where we can observe it in the sky. And those are the days when the things that Mercury rules, technology, communication, writing, speaking, talking, transacting, commuting, cars, vehicles, traffic, meeting-related technology, public transportation, taxis, Ubers, Lyfts, using your phone for all sorts of things, your computers, your devices, crashes, breakdown, just intensify. The other thing I find is that when Mercury is actually going direct, for some reason our capacity to process and tolerate these kinds of snafus is particularly diminished. So our fuses are shorter, and there's just such a frequency of crap that we deal with that our ability to, you could be driving and going from point A to point B, and you'll just deal with a fair amount of Mercury going direct shenanigans. And because there's so many small irritating things, someone cuts in front of you, someone doesn't take a right turn the way they're supposed to, there's more traffic all of a sudden, people are being stupid in general, or our mental processing is not at optimal speed, and other things ruled by Mercury are not moving forward smoothly. Everything is just sort of in this suspension. And as a result of which our ability to deal with them also is severely compromised, especially when Mercury is going direct. So be conscious of irritation. And unfortunately, our lives are not synced up with transits. It would be so interesting to think of our work if we actually synced up our lives to our transits. We're still going to be expected to move, and deliver. Some of these are self-imposed. I want to do a series of videos over the next 3 or 4 days. I must be a glutton for punishment. And so, really, if I was to move in sync with the energy, I just wouldn't post any videos for the next week or so. That's not my plan. So we're going to be pushing forward as if Mercury is direct, but that's not where the energies are going to go. And so if the universe doesn't conspire to help you, remember to take a few minutes to just breathe as irritations and snafus and spokes in the wheel are put in, and then move forward. Okay, I can feel that people who are used to Mercury retrograde direct content might be irritated with this, because this is relatively mundane content, but I'm still going to mention it as we move towards the Sagittarius new moon on the 26th. Be patient with yourself and processes and expect things to break down, and the energy is already here. I was going to do this video tomorrow and do another video today, but as I was going about my business, as proved by the videos I did yesterday and today, Mercury is pretty slow in the sky and getting ready to move direct. The larger, more relevant theme has to do with Mercury going direct in Scorpio and traveling through Scorpio through December the 9th. By December the 7th, from November the 20th, when Mercury goes direct, to December the 7th, Mercury is going to go over the same degrees it went over when it went retrograde. So it's going to be going over those same degrees for the third and final time. And December 7th to December 9th, it'll go through the last couple of degrees of Scorpio and move then on December the 9th into Sagittarius. This brings us to the third and final phase of Scorpio season, which starts on the 19th of November, one day before Mercury goes direct, when Mars, the ruler of Scorpio, enters Scorpio, and ends on January the 3rd, when Mars moves into Aquarius, into Sagittarius. Another Mercury retrograde moment. So Mars comes in on the 19th, Mercury goes direct on the 20th. Till December the 7th, Mercury goes over the same degrees it went retrograde over, on December the 9th it leaves. And then Mars leaves on January the 3rd. The third final phase of Mercury retrograde. The first phase, defined by Mercury entering Scorpio, was the first of the planets to enter Scorpio on October the 3rd. Venus came in on October the 8th. Venus left on November the 1st. Mercury went retrograde October the 31st. That was the first phase, marked by the fact that we were getting intimations. Our instincts were telling us that it was time to start contending with scorpionic things, and scorpionic things would be defined by what the sign of Scorpio stands for: enmeshed relationships, emotional enmeshments, financial enmeshments, codependencies, contractual enmeshments, marriage and divorce, coming together with people, separating from people, and all that entails emotionally and financially. And some of the issues that Scorpio season has brought up have been going on for a while, particularly from around this time last year, October, November, and part of December last year. But intimations that we have to deal with these issues may have come up in October, but we may have felt passive and not really ready to take things on, not really ready to tackle or deal with the emotional and relationship depths related to where Scorpio was at. Once Venus left, Mercury went retrograde around the same couple of days. We've been in this space that I have called waiting and investigating. Somewhere actions were taken, there was some sort of domino effect of consequences, and we have been observing things around us and also doing some internal investigation of how we feel about certain things and certain issues and what is bubbling up for us. Well, not only over the next 7 or 8 days will we experience Mercury-related snafus in greater intensity, we're also now, I think, kind of getting to the point where we feel like, okay, there are certain issues related to scorpionic themes. And as I said, scorpionic themes are about what theme Scorpio as a sign is about: emotional and financial enmeshments. And don't forget, if you know your chart or have your chart, don't forget to look and see where the sign of Scorpio sits in your chart, what house it occupies, what aspects of life it affects, because that's where some of these energies are playing out. The house is really quite important. That's where this stuff is coming up, and came up last year around the same time as well. So, and chances are that house has a scorpionic feel to it, because that's where Scorpio sits. So if, for example, Scorpio sits in your second house of income and money and self-worth and self-esteem, it's possible that that there are themes of relationship and financial enmeshments that are the wallpaper of that house in your chart. So it's both what the sign stands for and the house it occupies. That's where some of these energies are playing out. And now starting to look for some sort of resolution. So just keep in mind that over the next 7 or 8 days, if you feel like, okay, it's time to start tackling some of this, and you even start to take some action around it, that's fine. But after Mercury really starts to go direct, Mars comes in on the 19th, Mercury goes direct on the 20th, give the universe till about the 24th or the 26th so that Mercury starts to move. Just know that especially after the 24th, but especially after the 26th, once we have the new moon in Sagittarius, but the planets are moving forward. Mars is in Scorpio by that time, and Mercury is starting to move forward for much of December, the end of November and much of December. You will be in an action-oriented space when it comes to scorpionic themes, financial and emotional enmeshments, coming together and separating from people, personal, business, if it's not, and even internally, because Scorpio is such an internal sign, developing your own sense and your own observations and your own philosophies about relationship and financial enmeshments. But the time for action is here, and we'll be here till January the 3rd. But from the 20th of November, but especially 24th to 26th of November to December the 7th, December the 9th, the first set of actions may have a strong communication, clarification, seeking clarification, investigation, communication, emails, writings, talking, speaking, sometimes getting answers and clarity, often not, but then that leading to certain consequences in terms of actions. That's what's going to start to happen. And it should happen. And I think by now you're probably starting to feel that it needs to happen. Okay, so Mercury slow in the sky and then going direct on the 20th and remaining a little slow until about the 24th, and then a new moon on the 26th are what is really going to be coloring our next week before the Sagittarius new moon. And to summarize, be clear that there will be all sorts of Mercury retrograde related snafus related to technology, communication, and the houses that Mercury rules in your chart also, for people who want to go a little deeper. Where is Gemini in your chart? Where is Virgo in your chart? Take a look at those. Those houses might be affected with Mercury slowing down and then going direct and having been retrograde. So just to get a little more complex there for you guys. For some people, that's not going to be complex enough, but that's okay. It's a general video. Of course, my battery's dying too. All right. Be aware of those snafus. Be aware that your own fuse and your own ability to process through some of these snafus is going to be quite short. So give yourself some time to breathe. Give yourself some time to put your feet up. The moon is going to be diminishing in size by the time we get to the 20th and the 22nd and the 24th, before the new moon on the 26th. Our energy is going to be a little bit low. But at the same time, with Mars's entry into Scorpio on the 19th and Mercury going direct on the 20th, we're also going to at the same time be gearing up and feeling like we want to gear up and may even take some actions around this extended Scorpio season, where we have in a certain sense been passive in October and investigative for much of November. I think we're starting to feel now like we want to go ahead and put some boundaries in place and seek some clarity and have some conversations and take some actions. So if you're starting to feel that way, that's understandable. If you're starting to experience some Mercury slowdown stuff, that's understandable. Just know that the flow of energy and action and activity will probably get stronger as Mercury gets faster after the 24th and then after the new moon on the 26th. More to follow. The current plan is to do videos tomorrow and day after. As I said, I'm a glutton for punishment for doing this while Mercury's slow, but we'll see how it goes. Let's see if I can actually upload this one. All right. Share this video if you find it useful. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Comment on it, like it. Click the bell icon next to the subscribe button if you want to be notified when I do videos. Use my email address. It's going to be in the description area to write to me if you want a reading or want me to create an easy to read version of your chart. You'll need to know your birth time for that. All right, over and out.